Okay, let me jump right off into this information tonight. Tonight I'm gonna be talking about the ICC, or what used to be the ICC. As a matter of fact, while I bring that up, a whole lot of drivers, experienced and inexperienced, had never heard of the ICC or the Interstate Commerce Commission. That's what it ICC stands for, Interstate Commerce Commission. But and that's what I'm gonna be talking about tonight. So let me start. Say what the Interstate Commerce Commission was. Okay, the ICC was the first federal agency created to regulate transportation in the United States. It was established in 1887 to control railroad monopoly. But over time, it expanded to regulate trucking, buses, freight brokers, and more. Okay, think of it as this, or think of it as the government body they used to control who could haul freight, where they could haul it, and what they could charge to haul it. Okay, now why the ICC mattered to truck drivers? Before deregulation, trucking was heavily controlled by the ICC. The ICC controlled who could get operating authority, what lanes you could run, what rates you could charge, what commodities you could haul. Excuse me. Who could become a broker in entry into the trucking business. All all of this was controlled by the ICC back in the day. Like I said, when it was the ICC. Okay, you couldn't just start a trucking company. You needed ICC authority, and it was hard to get. So that meant less competition, higher freight rates, fewer carriers, limited opportunities for new drivers to become owner operators. And to tell you the truth, if we had the ICC nowadays, it'd be a whole lot better. Because, for one thing, there are too many trucks on the road. And being that there are too many trucks, that means somebody are going to be left out when it comes to freight. But back in the day, the ICC controlled all of that. Because, like I said, you had less competition, higher freight rates, which made a whole lot of sense. Anytime you have less competition, you can get, you can negotiate more on the rates to make more. But all that stuff changed over the years. So let's talk about what changed. Okay, deregulation. Everything changed with the Motor Carrier Act of 1980. Okay, this law reduced ICC control, opened trucking to competition, allowed it easier entry into trucking, let carriers negotiate rates, and increased number of owner operators. And this is why today anyone can start a trucking company. Rates fluctuate constantly, but I know that's true. Competition is high. Brokers become powerful. All of that is due to not having the ICC. Now, why was they eliminated? Or why was it deregulated? Okay, the ICC was eventually eliminated in 1995. The government shut down the ICC through the ICC Termination Act of 1995. Okay, its responsibilities were split mainly between Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Safety and Authority. Okay, Surface Transportation Board, limited economic oversight. So, why this still matters to truck drivers today? Understanding the ICC explains why trucking is the way it is now. Today's trucking reality comes from ICC deregulation. And here are some of the effects: low freight rates, the competition from open markets, too many trucks, like I mentioned earlier, no more ICC entry limits, brokers dominate. Oh, these brokers, they ridiculous. ICC no longer controls the middleman. Okay, owner operator boom, easier authority access. Anybody can get in the truck nowadays. Rate brutality, no government price control. Okay, now this the way it was before deregulation. The drivers made more consistent money. Fewer carriers existed. Freight rates were stable. It was harder to start, but easier to stay profitable or profitable. Now, after deregulation, this is what happened. It became easier to enter into the industry and harder to survive. Okay, one thing most drivers don't know: many older truckers still say ICC authority even even today. That's because operating authority used to be issued by the ICC. Today it's MC numbers for motor carrier issued by FMCSA, not ICC. But the language stuck. The bottom line is this: the ICC controlled trucking, had limited competition, stabilized the rates, protected carriers. Now, when it disappeared, competition exploded, rates dropped, brokers gained power, owner operators increased. That single shift reshaped modern trucking. So, looking at this information, the ICC was a good thing because a whole lot of what was mentioned, or a whole lot of what I mentioned earlier, it was good when we had less competition. It was good when we could negotiate the rates um, a whole lot better than we can now. It was good when anybody couldn't get into the market or the industry. It was good. But when deregulation when they started deregulation, all that changed. I mean, it's harder to make money now in trucking. It's harder to negotiate freight. It's harder to when you're going in to get your paperwork and stuff like that. If you're trying to start a trucking business, and it's so easy now to get into it, but it was harder back then. You just couldn't walk into a courthouse and say, okay, I want to start a trucking business, whatever the case. You had to jump through hoops because it just wasn't that easy. But and it's almost like just like now some companies, like contracted companies, just say like dedicated accounts. I was on a dedicated account. I never forget. Out of CrossFit, Arkansas. It was a Walmart account where I ran like maybe 5 states. And before I started on that account, they had just renegotiated the account, and they was telling drivers that we had 5 in between 5 and 10 years to run an account. I'm gonna say maybe a year after they had negotiated that account, another trucking company came in and offered to haul the freight for a whole lot less than what we was hauling it for. So when they did that, it opened the market up. And I can't recall. I don't know what they came in and started hauling it for, but I know it was cheaper than what we was hauling it for. So when they came in and started on the account, that kicked us out because we wanted more to haul the freight than what they wanted. And being that they wanted less, they got the account. So what I did, I left and I went somewhere else. But I heard maybe about 2 or 3 years later that company that came in to haul that freight cheaper, I don't know what happened, but they lost their account. Maybe somebody else came in to haul it cheaper than what they was gonna haul it. I don't know. But JB Hunt winded up getting their account back. So I never did go back, but like I said, I heard they had, the JB was back in there. Maybe JB, you know, came back in and was hauling it, for more than what the other company was hauling it for. But these companies, these companies, they just as bad as some of these. Well, I'm gonna just say some of these shippers. They are just as bad as some of these trucking companies that want to come in and haul that stuff cheap. Because the way they look at it, the cheaper they can get their freight hauled, that's the less they got to pay you. But what they fail to realize, a whole lot, just say like JB Hunt. Just say if JB Hunt had negotiated to haul that freight for just say $20,000 per truck, and the other company came in and said we'll haul it for $15,000 per truck. Yeah, even though the shipper gonna probably give that account to, like they did, that company that want to haul it cheaper. But a whole lot of times that's a bad thing because the company that's hauling the freight for more do a way better job than a little bootleg company coming in want to haul want to haul that stuff cheap and making it bad for every other company. So they finally woke up, and smelled the coffee. But the ICC uh, was a good thing back in the day. I wish they were still around because it'll be a whole lot of changes made, and we need changes in this industry because, like I said, again, and not to be repetitious, but when they deregulated the ICC, everything started going downhill. So yeah, that's the end of this video for today. But like I said, I feel like I need to come on and kind of like give the drivers that didn't know or had never heard of the ICC a little glimpse in who they used to be and how much better things were during that time. So until next week, I'm gonna go and shut this video down and try to get myself together. I don't know what I want to talk about next week, but I'm gonna spend this week meditating on what I want to talk about in my next video. But it'll be pertaining to trucking. You can believe that. But anyway, until next time, y'all keep trucking. Watch these four-wheelers. And don't forget about that DOT Blitz that's coming up next month. It's gonna be a 3-day blitz. I might need to do a video on that. But it's gonna be a 3-day blitz. The 12th, 13th, the 14th. That's what they tell you. A whole lot of time they go the whole week. They do more than 3 days, but it just depends. We'll see. But check your trucks out. Make sure they DOT ready because these guys gonna be a whole lot harder this year than they were last year, based on what I'm hearing. I mean, they done pretty much already started. Cause I done seen them pulling trucks in, inspecting them and going on. So, but like I said, to make a long story short, just make sure you all any driver that come across this video, make sure and get the word out that everything is copacetic with your truck. Yeah, but until next time, take care.